Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to see you here today.
Think about your morning for a second. You wake up, maybe you check your phone before even getting out of bed. You scroll, you stay under the blanket a little longer. It feels good. It feels safe. Nothing is pushing you. Nothing is demanding anything from you.
Yeah, and even after that, the whole day can look the same. Same routine, same people, same conversations. You know what to expect, so there are no surprises.
And most people like that. They like knowing what will happen next. They like not feeling nervous, not feeling pressure. It feels calm.
But let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you felt uncomfortable in a good way?
Not stress, not fear that stops you, but that feeling when something is new, when your heart beats a little faster because you are trying something different.
Most people struggle to answer that because their days are built to avoid that feeling.
We build our lives around comfort, a comfortable bed, comfortable habits, comfortable conversations, even comfortable dreams, dreams that don't challenge us too much.
And here's the strange part. It all feels right. It feels like we are doing something good for ourselves.
But what if that feeling is misleading?
What if comfort is not helping you, but slowly holding you back?
Because comfort feels like safety, but is it really safety?
Or is it just a quiet way of staying the same?
That's the question we're exploring today. Not in a complicated way, just honestly, because sometimes the thing that feels the most harmless has the biggest impact on your life.
And once you start seeing it, you can't really unsee it.
So let's break it down slowly. No pressure, just understanding. Because this idea sounds simple, but it changes how you look at everything.
So what is the comfort zone really?
People hear this phrase all the time, but most don't actually think about what it means.
Let's keep it very simple. Your comfort zone is anything that feels familiar and easy, things you can do without fear, without thinking too much.
It's where you feel in control. You know what to say, you know what to do. Nothing feels risky.
For example, talking to close friends, watching the same type of videos every day, following the same routine again and again.
Or staying quiet in a group because speaking feels risky, even if you have something to say.
That's a big one. Many people don't speak not because they don't have ideas, but because they want to stay comfortable.
Another example is avoiding new opportunities, not applying for something, not trying something new, just sticking to what you already know.
And again, it feels fine. You don't feel pain, you don't feel pressure, everything feels smooth.
That's why people like the comfort zone so much. There is no judgment, no risk of failure, no embarrassment. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to face rejection. You just stay where things are easy.
And honestly, there is nothing wrong with comfort itself. Everyone needs rest. Everyone needs moments of peace.
The problem starts when comfort becomes your default, when it becomes your only way of living.
When every decision you make is based on one question, will this make me uncomfortable?
And if the answer is yes, you avoid it.
That's how the comfort zone works. It doesn't force you to stay. It just makes leaving feel harder.
It's quiet, it doesn't look dangerous, but it slowly shapes your choices.
And over time, those choices shape your life.
Now here's where things get deeper, because this is not just about habits, it's about how your brain works.
Your brain is designed to protect you. Its main goal is not growth. Its main goal is survival.
That means your brain prefers what is safe and familiar, even if it's not helping you grow.
When you try something new, your brain sees it as a risk. It doesn't matter if it's small, like speaking in a group.
Your brain reacts the same way. It creates fear, doubt, overthinking.
You might think, what if I say something wrong? Or what if people judge me?
That fear feels real. Your body feels it. Your heart beats faster. You feel uncomfortable.
So what do most people do? They step back. They stay quiet. They return to what feels safe,
And the moment they do that, the discomfort disappears.
which teaches the brain something important. It learns that avoiding discomfort feels better.
So next time, it pushes you even more to stay in the comfort zone.
This is how fear grows, not because you are weak, but because your brain is doing its job.
But here's the problem. That same system that protects you also limits you.
Because growth always feels uncomfortable at first. Always.
Learning a new skill feels awkward. Speaking up feels scary. Trying something different feels uncertain.
But if you keep avoiding those moments, your world starts to shrink. You stop trying new things. You stop meeting new people. You stop challenging yourself.
And slowly, without realizing it, your life becomes smaller, not because you don't have potential, but because you're staying where it feels safe.
And the scary part is, it doesn't feel like something is wrong.
It feels normal.
That's what makes the comfort zone so powerful. It doesn't trap you with force.
It keeps you with comfort, and over time, that comfort becomes your limit.
Let's talk about something that sounds true but isn't completely true.
The idea that comfort keeps you safe, because when you stay in your comfort zone, nothing bad happens. You don't fail, you don't get embarrassed, you don't get rejected.
And that feels like a good thing.
Of course it does. No one enjoys failure. No one enjoys being judged, so avoiding those situations feels smart.
But here's the other side that people don't think about.
When nothing bad happens, nothing good happens either.
That's the part most people ignore.
You don't fail, yes, but you also don't grow. You don't improve. You don't discover new things about yourself.
You stay in the same place, day after day, week after week.
And at first, it feels peaceful, calm, easy.
But over time, something else starts to appear.
Regret.
Not loud regret, not immediate regret, but a quiet feeling.
A feeling that maybe you could have done more.
Maybe you should have tried. Maybe you missed something.
Let's take a simple example. Imagine you had a chance to speak in front of a group. Nothing huge, just a small moment.
But you stayed quiet because it felt safer.
In that moment, nothing bad happened. You avoided stress. You avoided fear.
But you lost something.
You lost the chance to express yourself, to be heard, to build confidence.
And maybe that one small moment could have changed something bigger.
Now imagine this happens again and again and again.
Each time you choose comfort.
And each time you lose a small opportunity.
These small losses don't feel important in the moment.
But they add up.
Another example, you want to try something new, maybe learn a skill, start a project, talk to new people.
But you tell yourself, I'll do it later.
Because starting feels uncomfortable.
So you wait. Days pass, weeks pass.
And slowly that idea fades away.
Again, nothing bad happened.
But nothing good happened either.
This is how the illusion works. Comfort makes you feel like you are choosing the better option.
But in reality, you are choosing the easier option.
And easy is not always better.
Easy often means staying the same.
And staying the same for too long becomes its own problem.
Because life keeps moving, opportunities come and go.
And if you are always choosing comfort, you start missing them without even noticing.
That's the dangerous part. You don't see what you are losing.
You only feel what you are avoiding,
No fear, no stress, no discomfort.
but also no progress, no excitement, no growth.
Over time, that creates a gap.
a gap between where you are and where you could have been.
And that gap turns into regret,
Not because you failed.
but because you didn't try.
Comfort promises safety.
But it doesn't tell you the full story,
It protects you from pain in the moment.
while quietly taking away your future possibilities.
And that's why it's not as safe as it feels.
Because sometimes the biggest risk is never taking one.
Let's bring this closer to real life. Not big theories, just small, everyday moments.
Because this is where the comfort zone really shows up. Not in big decisions, but in small ones.
Think about a classroom. The teacher asks a question. You know the answer.
You feel it. It's right there in your mind.
But then another feeling comes. What if I'm wrong? What if people laugh?
So you stay quiet.
Someone else answers. Maybe they get it right, maybe they don't.
And the moment passes.
Nothing bad happened to you. You stayed safe.
But something small was lost.
You didn't practice speaking. You didn't build confidence. You didn't take that tiny step forward.
And this doesn't happen once, it happens again and again.
Each time, the decision feels small.
But the pattern becomes big.
Now think about starting something new.
Maybe you want to learn a skill, improve your English, start creating something.
You feel excited at first. You imagine yourself getting better.
But then reality comes in.
It will take time, you might struggle, you might feel slow at the beginning.
And suddenly that excitement turns into hesitation.
So you say, I'll start tomorrow.
Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month.
And slowly the idea disappears.
Again, nothing bad happened.
But something important didn't happen either.
You didn't grow.
Let's look at something deeper.
Staying in situations that don't feel right.
This could be a friendship, an environment, or even a daily routine that drains you.
You know it's not helping you. You feel it.
But leaving feels uncomfortable.
It means change. It means uncertainty. It means facing something new.
So you stay, because staying is familiar.
Even if it's not good for you.
That's the power of comfort. It can make even a bad situation feel easier than change.
You tell yourself, it's okay, it's not that bad.
But deep down, you know you're not moving forward.
Now, here's the important part.
All of these moments seem small. Not speaking once, delaying one idea, staying one more day in a situation.
None of them feel life-changing.
But life is not built on big moments.
It's built on small decisions repeated over time.
One small choice doesn't define your life.
But hundreds of small choices do.
If you keep choosing comfort in these tiny moments, your life slowly shapes around that.
You become someone who avoids risk, someone who stays quiet, someone who waits.
Not because you want to.
But because you've trained yourself that way.
On the other hand, if you start changing even a few of these small decisions,
Everything begins to shift.
speaking once, starting small, taking one step out of a situation,
These actions feel uncomfortable at first.
but they start building something new.
Confidence, strength, growth.
That's how big change really happens, not in one big moment.
But in small choices that most people ignore.
And that's why the comfort zone is so tricky.
Because it lives inside these tiny decisions.
And if you don't notice them,
They quietly decide your future for you.
one small choice at a time.
Let's flip the perspective now.
Because up to this point, discomfort sounds like something negative, something to avoid. But what if discomfort is not the problem?
What if it's actually a signal?
Think about it. Every time you try something new, you feel uncomfortable.
Your voice shakes a little.
Your mind overthinks. Your body feels tense.
That feeling is not random.
It's a sign that you are stepping into something unfamiliar.
And unfamiliar is where growth begins.
If something feels easy all the time, it usually means you've already mastered it, or you're not challenging yourself.
But when something feels difficult, when it feels slightly uncomfortable,
That's where learning happens.
let's take a simple example. Speaking in English.
At first, it feels hard. You search for words, you make mistakes.
It feels uncomfortable.
But if you keep practicing, something changes.
Slowly, you become more confident. Words come faster. You feel more relaxed.
That confidence didn't come from staying comfortable.
It came from staying in that uncomfortable space long enough.
The same is true for almost everything.
Learning a skill, meeting new people, sharing your ideas.
In the beginning, it feels awkward, but that awkwardness is part of the process.
It's not a sign to stop.
It's a sign that you're growing.
The problem is, most people misunderstand this feeling.
They think discomfort means something is wrong,
So they step back.
and they return to comfort.
But every time they do that, they move away from growth.
Let's compare two simple paths, the comfort path and the growth path.
The comfort path feels easy. No stress, no risk.
You know what to expect. You feel in control.
But over time, nothing really changes.
Your skills stay the same. Your confidence stays the same.
Life feels stable, but also a little stuck.
Now look at the growth path.
It feels uncomfortable at the start.
There is uncertainty. There are mistakes. There is fear.
But something else is there too.
Progress.
You learn, you adapt, you improve.
And slowly, what once felt uncomfortable becomes normal.
Then you grow again.
And again.
So discomfort is not your enemy.
It's more like a guide,
It shows you where you can expand.
where you can become better.
If you always avoid discomfort, you avoid that growth.
But if you start accepting it, even a little,
Your life begins to change,
not instantly,
but steadily.
you start doing things you once avoided.
You start building confidence step by step
And that confidence is real.
because it comes from action, not comfort.
So the next time you feel uncomfortable,
Pause for a moment.
instead of running away, ask yourself one question.
Is this discomfort actually showing me a chance to grow?
Because most of the time it is.
So now the question becomes simple. What do you actually do with all of this?
Because understanding the comfort zone is one thing, changing your behavior is another.
And here's the mistake people often make.
They think they need to do something big, something dramatic.
Like suddenly changing their whole life overnight.
But that almost never works.
It feels overwhelming, too much pressure, too much fear.
And then they go right back to comfort.
The better way is much simpler,
Start small,
very small.
what we can call micro discomfort.
Small actions that feel slightly uncomfortable, but still possible.
For example, speaking one sentence in a group instead of staying silent,
Or starting something for just 10 minutes instead of waiting for the perfect time.
or saying no to something that drains you even if it feels awkward.
These are not big actions
But they matter.
because they break the pattern.
The goal is not to remove fear completely.
The goal is to act even when fear is there.
And when you start small, your brain doesn't panic as much.
It still feels uncomfortable, but manageable.
And that's enough.
Because once you take one small step, something changes.
You prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort.
And that builds confidence.
Another powerful idea is daily challenges.
Not big challenges, just small ones.
Each day, do one thing that feels slightly uncomfortable.
It could be speaking, learning, trying, or even changing your routine.
The action itself is not the most important part.
The habit is.
You are training your mind to stop avoiding discomfort.
And start facing it.
Over time, this becomes natural.
What once felt difficult starts to feel normal.
Now, let's talk about fear.
Because fear is always there in the comfort zone.
And most people try to remove it.
But that's not the right approach.
Instead, you change how you see it.
You reframe it.
Instead of thinking, this feels scary, I should stop,
You think, this feels scary, maybe this is important.
that one shift changes everything
Fear stops being a stop sign,
and becomes a signal.
a signal that you are stepping into something meaningful.
And finally, consistency.
This is where most people fail.
They take action once, maybe twice,
Then they stop.
because it's uncomfortable.
But growth doesn't come from one action.
It comes from repeated actions,
Small steps done again and again,
even when it's not exciting.
even when it feels slow.
That's how real change happens. So let's put it all together.
Start small. Don't wait for big moments.
Challenge yourself daily, even in simple ways.
Change how you see fear.
And most importantly, stay consistent.
Because the comfort zone is not broken in one day.
It's broken step by step.
Choice by choice.
And every small step you take,
Moves you a little further away from comfort.
and a little closer to growth.
And that's where your real potential starts to show.
Before we end, take a quiet moment and think about your own life.
Not in a big, complicated way, just simple, honest reflection.
Where are you choosing comfort right now?
Is it in something small, like staying silent when you want to speak?
Or something bigger, like avoiding a change you know you need?
Ask yourself this: are you really at peace, or just avoiding discomfort?
Because those two can feel very similar.
But they lead to very different lives.
One leads to growth, the other leads to staying the same.
And staying the same might feel safe today.
But what about later?
What about a few months from now, or a few years?
Will you be proud of the choices you're making now?
Or will you look back and think, I should have tried?
Not tried perfectly, just tried.
Because that's all growth really asks from you.
Not perfection, not big actions.
Just small moments of courage.
Moments where you feel uncomfortable and still move forward.
And those moments are available to you every single day.
In conversations, in decisions, in actions you keep delaying.
The opportunity is always there.
The question is, will you take it?
Or will you wait until it feels easy?
Because here's the truth.
It may never feel easy.
And that's not a bad thing.
That's the point.
Growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort.
It comes wrapped in uncertainty.
So maybe the goal is not to find comfort,
But to become comfortable with discomfort.
to stop running from it.
To start understanding it.
Because on the other side of that feeling,
Is a version of you that you haven't met yet.
and that version is built,
One uncomfortable step at a time.
if this made you think even a little,
Then don't let it stop here.
take one small action today, just one,
Something slightly uncomfortable, something you've been avoiding.
and see what happens.
If you want more conversations like this,
Then make sure you follow and stay with us.
and if this helped you, share it with someone who might need to hear it too.
Because sometimes one idea,
Can change the direction of someone's life.
we'll see you in the next one.
Keep growing.